Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees. You know, I've been kind of procrastinating on a few things that I need to get done to my nukes. I'm going to take the time to do that today. I'm going to show you how I set my nukes up for winter. And they thrive every year clear up till spring. So if you're overwintering some bee colonies, whether they're 5 frame or 10 frame, you might want to watch this. It could help overwinter your bees, either this winter or in the future. Okay, so the first thing I've got here is I've got my handy dandy spacer rims that I use on all of my hives. Nukes, 10 frames, it don't matter what size. These ones are made for the nukes, and as you can see on the bottom, I've made a little entrance for the bees to enter. Within the spacer will be a piece of newspaper with some dry sugar, and on top, that's where we're at now, we need to cut a piece of this insulation the same size as that spacer. And what this will do is help hold the heat in and help the moisture escape where it's supposed to, which is right here in the bee escape. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take one of these, we're going to lay it up on this insulation board, we're going to line up all of our edges, and we're going to take my handy dandy pocket knife and just basically score here and up here. So now I can cut it out and I will have my insulation cover. Now I want to demonstrate how I assemble all of this. Normally I would have taken care of all of my nukes at the same time, but I got tangled up in some other things and just now getting to it. So I need to take care of business and get this taken care of. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the top cover. Got my broodminder sensor here, which I don't want to disturb. I want to leave that right there. Now I want to take my spacer rim, put on top, just like so, the entrance facing forward. When I go to feed dry sugar, I'll simply set a piece of newspaper sheet here and a piece back here, maybe cut a couple slices in it, and then just pour straight dry sugar on there. And that's pretty much the reason for the spacer. The spacer just allows the room for dry sugar. Now we're going to place our insulation board directly on top of that and our outer cover. Now in order for me to use this outer cover and it sit on there flat, I need to remove all of this burr comb. There, I've removed all the burr comb. It should sit on there relatively well now. And that colony is ready. I do need to put the brick back on there so the lid doesn't blow off. And actually, you know, I think I'm going to use this heavier rock versus the brick. So that's how it would look when I am completed. The idea is here is as the cluster radiates this heat and the cold air is entering the hive, it's going to create some condensation. That condensation is going to rise. Without a ventilation hole here, it's going to condense on the bottom of your inner cover, the piece of insulation, whatever it may be at the top. And then that condensation is going to drip back on your bees, and wet bees are dead bees. Look at all those dead bees. I can hear them in there buzzing around, so I know they're not dead. I think what I'm going to do is instead of closing it back to the excluder on the disc, is I'm going to do it like half and half. I'm going to do part of the excluder and part of the round opening. That might give them a little bit better options as far as removing the dead from the colony. And I don't see a mouse fitting in that hole, so that should be good. Now, I think what I'll do is close this top hole completely, actually. And that way moisture's not trying to wick out here versus here. I would rather it come out at the top. So that's the reason for that, folks. Rather important if you want your colonies to survive, and which we all do. We've got this much invested in them. Why wouldn't we want them to survive? So the only thing you could do maybe better is maybe run a cinch strap around your colony versus the rock. And another thing you could do is if you've got if all of your top covers are just like this one, is you can place your colonies close together, and they can help keep each other warm. With this particular one, I don't have the luxury of that because, well, I'm just lazy and I don't feel like moving it. And this is one of them that I'm doing the broodminder thing with, and I don't really want the readings to change, so I'm leaving it as is and hoping for the best. Now, doing my part here will greatly help in that. So I need to move along and knock out the other few that I've got to do yet, but I wanted to share that with you in hopes that it helps somebody. If not this year, maybe next year. It's worked very well for me, and at the same time, I should mention, bottom of this colony has a screened section about that big. It's probably 10 by 6, 4, something like that, and it is fully open right now. I did not block it off. Cold air does not kill bees. It's getting wet that kills them, or running out of food, or pest and disease. Not cold air, folks. So there you go. So here's a few of my nukes pushed together like I was telling you. In order for this to work, you have to have migratory top covers. And here's the reason. You see how these three are pushed together? Pretty tight, except for this space right here. And that space there is because this bottom board is a little bit wider than the nuke, as you can see here. So that's keeping them from pushing together. But for the most part, these three colonies can help share heat with each other. You come over to this nuke, and it's got a telescopic cover. And the overhang, hanging down on each side all the way around, keeps them from going any closer together. If we look up in here, you can see what I mean. And this can be kind of troublesome for pushing them together and keeping them from going together. The other thing that is bad about these telescopic covers is if you move your hives and you put them in the back of your truck, and let's say you push them together like this. You take a cinch strap and you winch them all together nice and tight. Well, if you've got telescopic covers, this space here is going to allow them to move. That's the only thing I don't like about telescopic covers. This overhang seems to get in the way a lot of the times. Now during the summer months, it's not too much of a problem, like I said, unless you're moving colonies. Then they're kind of a pain. But over here we've got the migratory covers, and everybody's helping sharing heat. Now these two colonies, the entrances are on the far side. This one here I've got closed because they tried to come out when I was getting ready to put the insulation on top, but I wanted to show you how they looked before I changed them out. I don't have any protective wear on, no veil or no smoke today. It's kind of cool, so I didn't really figure I would have the bees out in my face. But this one here, they're a little bit active. This one here, you can see I've already got, see if we can get up in here in this darkness. You can see I've got my spacer board on. You can see the entrance hole right there. I got my insulation on top of it, and it's ready to rock and roll. So that's what it looks like, folks. Just wanted to take a little bit more time and show you what it looks like when the colonies are pushed together and how that works, and explain a little bit about the top covers. This colony here, I need to push it over, I guess. It could share heat somewhat with this one, but or maybe I should just move it from here over to here. That's the answer. It's cold enough, they're not going to be flying to make orientation flights, so that shouldn't cause any problems. But anyway, folks, just wanted to share. Hope it's been helpful. So there you be, folks. We got those few nukes ready for winter, and I feel a lot better about them now. The video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, questions, or things you would like to add, please leave those down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, I sure hope you'll take a second and do so, and make sure you click on that little bell so you get notified when I release new videos. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget that big old thumbs up. Thanks, folks.